talk about the Last Great Tax Saver Software 2012 edition, what I consider to be the best retirement program of the 21st century. This is just going to be a short introduction just to get you to understand how this thing works. Generally, it all starts with an illustration. In this case, we have a male, 45, who's going to start out with $153,000 worth of life insurance, which is the minimum required to keep this as a life insurance policy. It's an increasing option. He's going to pay an annual premium of $7,500 a year, and he's going to do this from age 45 all the way to age 67. We're actually going to allocate half the money into the S&P 500 annual point-to-point, projected at 8.3%, which is a 30-year history, and we're also going to put half the money in the fixed account, which is currently paying 4%. And when you do the numbers on the two of those things together, that ends up being a 6.15% projection going forward. As you can see, he's going to put in $7,500 all the way to age 67, and then the policy says that at age 68 he can start taking out $37,649 a year all the way to age 100 for 33 years. So as you can see, he continues to take the money out, and starting in year 23, he keeps on going until he gets to age 100. It shows that he has taken out $1,242,000, and at that point in time, there's still a death benefit of $703,000. So that's how the illustration works. And so we start out with an illustration, and basically this is a client who is in a 25% tax bracket and has been making contributions of $10,000 above the match into his 401k plan, and we're going to compare that to this life insurance policy and see if that's a good deal. So the way it works is we're going to jump over to the Last Great Tax Saver. And the Last Great Tax Saver, it's pretty simple. I'm going to click on this, and what we're going to do is we're going to map out the life insurance policy. So we said he was putting in $7,500 a year, and he was doing that for 22 years. And then in the 23rd year, we said he can take out $37,649 out of the policy for 33 years. And we're going to suppose that he's in a 25% tax bracket later. He's in one now. We're just going to keep him the same just to keep things equal. And basically we said the projection was at 6.15%. So basically what we have here is this is the contributions to the insurance policy, $7,500 a year, and then at age 68, you can start taking out $37,649 for 33 years. So that looks pretty good. Small numbers going in, big numbers coming out. Pretty simple illustration. You just take it right off the illustration and show it to him. Now, he may say, oh, this looks great, I'll do it right now, but basically he may want to have some other considerations. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, let's take a look at that 401k plan where you think you can get a tax deferral or tax deduction in his mind, and we'll click on that button. And this shows what it does is that we actually taken his 25% current income tax bracket, rolled it up so that he's contributing $10,000 a year into the policy, or into his 401k plan, compared to the $7,500 you have available for a policy. And as you can see, what happens is that he puts in $10,000 a year, but when he goes to take the money out at retirement, because all the blue, which is the 401k plan, is taxable income, he has to take out $50,000 in order to net $37,000, just like you get in the policy. So the problem with this is that all this money, this blue above the gold here, is all taxes that you have to pay to Uncle Sam because you have this 401k plan. At the end of the day, when you put all this money into Uncle Sam's pockets and not in yours, and it's not even working for you to build taxable income in the future, what happens is that you end up running out of money. And you can see that the 401k plan runs out of money in year 37. So basically, actually, we're going to try to keep things all being equal. So we're going to run them at both at the same interest rate, 6.15%, and then that actually causes it to run out of money in year 36. So that's the 401k plan. So if you look at this, this doesn't look that great compared to the life insurance policy. So now let's just go take a look at some other options. You can actually put it in CDs. Well, CDs are only paying about 1%, and they're taxable as you go. You have deduction for putting them in there, or deferral. So that's not a very good deal. We could also try annuities. Again, annuities, he has no deferral. Or, he has to pay the full amount, $7,500. That's all he can put in there, comparing to the life insurance policy. And when he takes it out, it's taxable just like the 401k until he starts hitting his own money, taking his return of his own money back out, and he pays less taxes because he's taken his own money back. If you can go ahead and look at tax-free bonds. Tax-free bonds are currently paying about 3.5% for 30-year bonds or bond funds. And so basically 3.5 just can't compete with 6.15. Simple as that. Roth IRAs, well, the problem with the Roth IRA is he has a maximum contribution of $5,000, and $5,000, as you can see, isn't going to amount to much, and you can't even compete with the $7,500. So let's just go to the summary very quickly here, and this just basically summarizes everything that we've got. This is the amount of profit that he would receive out of his 401k plan over and above what he put in. And this is the CD, this is the annuity, this is the tax freeze, this is the Roth IRA, and this is the life insurance policy. So as you can see, 326 versus 1 million, the life insurance policy is about 300% more. Now we haven't even taken into consideration some of the other aspects of the thing, but I'm going to show you why this works so well. This policy has a thing called annual reset built into it. And the policy we illustrated had a 14% cap, which means that you can only make up to 14% a year when in your investment. And if you were to go back 15 years in this graph and had bought 100% of the S&P 500 on the first day of trading 1998, it was $980. And if you put $980 in the S&P, or if you could put $980 in an index account that goes along with this policy, and this is what would happen. As you can see, in the late 90s, those are some really great years for the S&P, and the policy only paid 14%, so it couldn't quite keep up. But then when the S&P started crashing and burning and going down, the policy has this thing called annual reset, where it does not lose any money at all when the market goes down. It just stays the same. So over those years when the market was crashing, you didn't lose any money. But then when the market takes off again, it takes off again. And then again, we get up here to this point in time when the market started to crash again, and you'll notice that the policy just stayed the same, whereas the market went way down here. So at the end of this time period, this 15-year period, if you that $980 turns into $2268 in the policy, versus if you had it in the market be $1277, that's about 80% more. That's a pretty big number. And as you can see, this number right here is 4%. So here, this 4% number basically is the midpoint between these two. So essentially, it did much worse, didn't even do as well as inflation over here, whereas the same money invested in a index account with annual reset would have thrown off about 80% more income. So that's the key of how this whole thing works. It's one of them. So we don't have any taxes, and we also basically have the opportunity of no losses. So this is the real strength of the program. That's why it works so well. So now we're going to talk about the life insurance itself, because that also comes along with it. And this policy, it actually starts out with a death benefit of $153,557. And so as you can see, that's basically 2,000% more than you get out of your 401k plan if something happened, right? So then at the other side of the coin, at age 81, when this policy, when the 401k plan runs out of money, the policy itself, at that point in time, if you happen to pass away at age 81, spend your last nickel and pass away in the perfect way to go, and the insurance amount still in the policy would be $203,073. And at age 100, if we take it one step further, if you happen to get to age 100, the death benefit at age 100 is $703,972. So what happens here is that at age 81, if you should happen to pass away when your 401k runs out of money, you still would get another $200,000, which is 160% more for your $7,500 a year. And if you got to age 100 and then passed away, you'd get 545%, 5.5 times as much money out of the policy that you would get out of your 401k plan, which is the one that would produce the most here compared to all the others. So that's the program. That's how it works. That's the last great tax saver. So the model concept here is to help you understand, show people how they have all these different options, and this is which way is the best way to go. And as you can see, the last great tax saver, or the index universal